Okay, so smooth side facing up, set it off to the side. You're going to put newspaper padding down. You're going to flip your image so image is facing the newspaper, and we're going to coat the back with the graphite stick. So you want to use the whole side of the stick, and you want like, I would say like 3 good layers. So I'll usually like do it in long strokes. Yeah, on the back of the image, back side of the image. Yep, on top of the paper. On top of newspaper. And I would go horizontally as well. So this is like poor man's tracing paper. So we're going to trace transfer. So for this one, I'm not really interested in your drawing skill. It's more about practicing the process, watercoloring, mark making. For your second practice, you're going to be drawing all that by hand with guidelines, drawing process, all that stuff. And obviously self-portrait you'll be drawing out yourself. So for this one, it's okay if we're just going to trace it. Okay, then notice how dirty our hands are. So once we get it taped on there, we're going to stop and like wash our hands. So take a minute to coat the whole back side. Jason, press harder. It wants to be darker. Yeah, like about that dark, yeah. So maybe go down. All right. Okay, there you go. Yeah. All right. You want it to be like a good medium gray on the back. Actually, you'll also need your ruler. So grab your ruler as well. All right, once you have it coated, then this is the smooth side facing up on my watercolor paper. I'm going to take my image and flip it so the graphite side is facing watercolor paper. Try to put it on there as evenly as possible. And then I kind of have a little bit of a gap up top. If the border's not perfect on this one, it's okay. It's just our first practice. You want a couple inches of masking tape, and then you want a little bit on the image and then on the paper. So you're taping the image to the watercolor paper. You want to make sure you have a good layer of graphite on the back, like medium gray.
Like this good?
Yep, that looks good.
So then I put this on the split side?
Yep. And so tape it at the top. Yeah, smooth side faces the graphite. Then we're going to get rid of newspaper padding. The newspaper padding is just so the graphite sticks to the paper a little bit better. And with your ruler, we're going to line it up with the image. And with your pen, go a little bit higher, there we go. You're gonna outline your image. And so I'd flip it up and check, like, can I see that line? Okay, mine's there. If it's really dark and heavy, lighten up your pressure. If you can barely see it, press harder. Yeah, edge of the image. And then that will give us a border all the way around. Tomorrow we're going to tape it to a board to get ready for watercolor. Okay, so I would flip it up and check. Okay, so for instance, this is probably a little dark. Like I should probably not press as hard. This is a little bit better. Yep, just drew right on top of the image. I can't hear you. What? Yeah, with pen. Sure. Alright, so you should have transfer. If yours isn't transferring, it probably means you need more graphite on the image. You might have to flip it back over, add more graphite, put it back on there. And remember, you're going to tape it down at the top. So the image is taped to the watercolor paper. So if you need to add more graphite, you can just flip it over, put newspaper padding, add more graphite. Alright, so even if you're not where I am, you're going to pause, watch for a minute or two. I'm going to do a part 1 and a part 2 for this video. Alright, so what we're going to start with first is major contour outlines. So I would outline like where the hair is, obviously outline of the jawline. We'll outline like eyes, iris, pupil, little reflections, etc. For the hair over here, I'd also chunk out like the highlights and shadows. So I look at how this is like a piece. I probably outline this dark area. This piece that's a highlighted piece, I would outline that chunk or piece of hair. And then we'll move into value mapping on the face. So we're going to do just contour lines first. So with my pen, I would literally outline a little bit, and I'm lifted up. Ooh, okay, that's heavy and dark. Okay, so I should press lighter. I don't need it to be that heavy and dark. Yeah, it's a little bit too dark.
So what's that?
So I outline like that chunk of hair. Over here, I'd probably outline her lighter chunk of hair. I would do her neck. I think over here we're gonna delete this part out, like, cause this hair looks weird. And these little pieces on her forehead we'll delete out. Those can just be added later. For her eyebrow, I'm gonna like gently kind of outline a little bit where it would end. All right, so our first step is to do major contour outlines, and then part 2 will be value mapping the actual face for full range of value, all 5 parts of light.